Hi, folks. How are you?
I'm a Greg too. It's cool. Great name. Well done.
I was going to say that's just going to make it even so much more easier, right, Greg?
Are you Gregory or are you Greg?
Gregory.
Oh, there you go. You just keeps getting better for you. Same thing.
If your middle name is Bruce, my head's just going to spin.
Buck. Bruce Buck. Not so far. GBK?
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh my God.
Whoa.
We can share embroidery.
And poor Sepideh is sitting over there going, what the heck is going on?
I just want to talk about a show, man. She doesn't,
Because that's my married name. So there you go. I mean,
wow. Man, wow. Crazy.
And it's funny, we're sitting up here, we're making all this up, and then you think about the plot of this movie, or this series, I mean, and if somebody had told you, yeah, somebody made it up, you'd probably go, yeah, you're right. Because could you conceive of, having to go through any of this? We'll start with you, Sepideh. What do you think?
No, I couldn't believe it. Dennis is one of the greatest writers of our time, and reading his scripts it was a page turner in the same way that I'm sure you can't stop watching as a viewer. I couldn't put the scripts down. And so I was fully immersed into the world that he built. And I knew that it was inspired by a true story. But I didn't realize that, because, inspired by doesn't mean that all the events are real. But some of the biggest, most shocking parts of our story were true. I don't want to spoil too much for your viewers, but yeah, I mean, even just the mere fact that the FBI conceived of an idea to marry these two cases in order to convict a suspected serial killer would just blew my mind. To transfer a prisoner to a maximum security prison for this, create this informant and use him in this way. So yes, it's shocking in so many ways. The real life story is just as shocking. Sorry, our story is just as shocking as the real life story.
Oh yeah, and like she said, Greg, I mean, this thing, it really pulls you in, doesn't it? You start watching in the first episode and it's like, I'm gonna have to sit up here and binge watch the whole thing in one sitting because I don't want to move out.
Yeah, but the great thing is Apple doesn't let you do that, and I gotta say, hats off. There was a minute like just yesterday, I feel like everybody, for the new paradigm was we were all going to binge everything. And this notion that they are going to release one a week, I think is really valuable, particularly for a show like this. I think it asks a little patience, and it also is going to ask for some reflection when you watch it. There's a big story to tell here, and real lives and damage was at stake in this story, and emotionally takes you a lot of different places. And I'm so grateful that people have a little time to kind of digest what they're watching in Blackbird.
Absolutely. Had a great time talking with both of you. Greg, let's work on that show.
GBK, take it easy, man.
I love it. Love it. You guys take care. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Hey, Paul, how are you?
Greg, I'm doing well. How you doing?
The same. I'm here. I'm smiling like you and breathing, so it doesn't get any better.
Yes, sir. Good attitude.
Oh, man, got to say, this is one of those series that definitely pulls you in, as a viewer. And then also we begin looking at the things from like inside of each different characters, like even your own, trying to figure out what's going to be happening next. So that's
it's a really uncomfortable show to watch. It's full of tension and surprises, and Dennis Lehane really wrote it expertly. I thought the writing was kind of the foundation with which the rest of the show survived and thrived. I think that playing Larry too is equal parts daunting, because you're in for a wild ride and have to do and say some things you wouldn't normally want to, but it's also such a privilege to play a real person, to do it with that level of talent surrounding you, and to try to tell this difficult story with a lot of thoughtfulness and tact.
And you're right, like you said, tremendous cast all the way around, yourself, Tarrant, everybody else. And then also it does make you, of course, think of, talk a little bit about working with Ray Liotta. Obviously this was his.
Yeah, it's, it's so weird that he's not here anymore. Ray's one of those actors, no different from Michael Keaton or Tom Hanks, where I just kind of like grew up with these guys.
Yeah.
So, you know, I can't imagine not seeing Denzel ever again, or Robin Williams. And then Robin Williams left us, you know, like it's weird. And it hurts, especially because I love these people. They made me do what I do. They inspire me to do what I do for a living. So I jump at the chance to work with any aging actor, because I just don't know when we're gonna lose somebody. Working with Ray, as brief as it was really special, and he was nothing but a gentleman to me, and really made me feel great when I was around him.
Absolutely. I told the director had to, you know, he came to Detroit a lot making movies back in the day. And after we get done, he would go and hang out with people in the neighborhood, you know, stay over there, have a drink, play cards, and, you know, just have a good time, which was,
Oh, that's cool.
it's like the best stories, you know, you can ever hear.
Didn't Ray do the movie Narc in Detroit?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. And actually you made me think of another question then to ask you. When you talked about, you know, working with people and you wanted to work with so many others, who would be another one of your bucket list people that you would like to-
Wow. I think the top of my list would be Robert Duvall,
Oh, wow.
Nicolas Cage,
Hmm.
and maybe somebody like Denzel Washington. Yeah, the guys who I think are just standards for great acting, but also take some big swings. You know, you watch Roman J. Israel next to Training Day, Denzel next to, oh my goodness, did you see the Coen brother movie he did?
Which one was, not Camelot, that one?
I'm
Or-
blanking on the name of it. The not Hamlet. What the heck was it?
I think that was it, the one that just came up, but yeah, I did see it.
Somebody help me out. What was the Denzel movie from last year? The Tragedy of Macbeth. Oh my gosh. Like Denzel he can make popcorn movies and tote a gun and drive a car, but he can also take risks and do something that's really different. And Nicolas Cage is like that. And Robert Duvall, you know, there's a piece of phraseology, the real ones know. And the real ones know when it comes to acting. Duvall, you can tout Marlon Brando, you can tout all these guys, but Duvall's kind of the dude.
Absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
Paul, I look forward to seeing you in a movie with one of your bucket list people soon. Thank you so much for your time.
Hope so. God bless, man. Thank
And
you.
you too. You too. Good. Well, I was going to say, you got a nice smile, got a lot to be proud of with this series. I mean,
Thank you.
it just kind of pulls you in. Is that what wanted you to even get involved with it? I mean, it's kind of like you just see this and you just want to continue to know what's going on.
Yeah, I wanted to put the I wanted to put the viewer in Jimmy's shoes as much as possible. And once you kind of once you commit to that kind of point of view stricture, you do create the tension in the narrative comes from him not knowing what's around any corners, you know, and him not realizing that. I think when he went in, he thought he was just going to see this monster and figure it out. And Larry is a monster. He is, without a doubt. He's irredeemable, but he's also a human. And that's a paradox that is very disconcerting for Jimmy and for all people, I think.
And you're right, because like you said, you started watching it and you were in, you know, I mean, in his body, looking out at everything going on, because you're feeling like, okay, I got to make the right decision, you know, myself.
Yeah.
With this whole thing.
Yeah.
And then even just the decision that he had to make is kind of like, okay, you've got one that's kind of like down here, but then another one that's way down. So which would you choose?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's a very, I think that the choice that was presented to him, it's never been presented to anyone before since, by the way, they since discovered it was highly illegal. But,
No.
yeah, yes. But I think that, you know, the question is, how many of us can even answer what we would have done in that circumstance? I can't.
Right.
You know, and Jimmy's first reaction is to say, hell no. But then his father gets sick and he knows his only chance of seeing his father as a free man ever again is to take the deal and get the commutation of sentence. So it was a beautiful dilemma. as for a dramatist, for a guy to write, for me to write, it was beautiful. I loved it.
And also to say tremendous cast. And of course, I'd be remiss if I wouldn't bring up, Ray Liotta. I mean, this was last project. Talk a little bit about working with him.
It was a dream come true. It was something I'd wanted to do forever. I said that if I ever got in charge of casting a show, he was on the show no matter what, if I could get him. And that's exactly what happened. And he was an absolute, the most consummate professional to work with, and formed a beautiful father-son bond with Taryn. And then the last conversation we had about 3 weeks before he died, he said, am I in the next one? And I said, of course. And he said, well, write me a big part. And I was like, okay. So,
well, there you go. I know he'll be represented, very well in that. I mean, just to say, when they used to shoot movies here in Detroit, they shot one time in a friend of mine's neighborhood. And every time at like 5 o'clock, they call, the final cut. Ray would go over to their homes, sit in their backyard with them, have a beer or whatever, and just, share stories. And the folks were talking about, my gosh, you wouldn't expect that, from a person of that stature. But, you're absolutely right. Very, very nice person.
Yeah, what he didn't have was he had absolutely no time for Hollywood BS. He was just Ray. And that, it was great. It was a real joy to work with him.
Absolutely. Dennis, thank you so much. And
thank you.
Take care, and congrats on the series.
Thanks so much. You take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.